My sister sabotaged my engagement in one toast to keep me trapped. As her caretaker, her manipulation pushed me away, and now she's lost everything. What would you do if the sister you sacrificed your youth for stood up at your engagement party and convinced your fiancé to leave you 4 weeks ago? My life unraveled in a single toast, and I'm still trying to understand how the woman I raised, like my own child, could betray me so completely. I'm a 35-year-old man. Permit me to paint a picture of the past. My parents passed away in a car crash when I was 20 years old, and my sister Vanessa, who was 18 years old at the time, was only 18. I withdrew out of college right away to take care of her, even though I had barely started. Our only relative was our grandma, who suffered from dementia and resided in a nursing home with no other options. Vanessa remained a high school student. We moved into a tiny apartment together, and I found a job at a warehouse. While Vanessa completed her high school education, I worked 2 jobs to cover all of our expenses for the following 3 years. She began dating Brandon at the age of 18, despite the fact that she was a brilliant student. His lack of responsibility made me dislike him, but Vanessa was completely smitten. Vanessa became pregnant with Brandon on her 20th birthday. Even though I was not happy about it, I agreed with her that she should keep the baby. Upon learning about the pregnancy, Brandon vanished. Vanessa sobbed uncontrollably for weeks after the loss. I assured her that we would find a solution as a team. My nephew Eric was born in 2011 to Vanessa. I was present during his birth and assisted with his care. From the very beginning, being a single mother was incredibly challenging for Vanessa, and she went through a dark patch on occasion. She would skip out on Eric and me for days on end to hang out with her buddies. Since I knew she was young and confused, I refrained from making any complaints. The second pregnancy for Vanessa occurred when Eric was 3 years old, this time with a man named Jason. Very much the same. Upon learning this, he departed. Then we had Eric and Lily, the infant. While Vanessa worked out her own life, I worked 3 jobs and basically raised these kids. At some point, Vanessa did manage to get herself together. She became a qualified dental assistant after attending a community college. I kept pitching in to help out around the house, though even when she found a permanent job, the kids' doctor's appointments, picking them up from school, assisting with homework, and shopping for clothing and toys were all things I did. I was the main supplier though. Vanessa would pitch in whenever she could. I have never once grumbled about this setup, as if they were my own children. Eric and Lily were cherished by me. A year has passed since Eric was 15 and Lily is 13. Aside from driving, I also showed Eric how to ride a bike and play baseball. For a long time, I would get Lily's hair braided before she would go to school. Even though they refer to me as Uncle Ryan, I've always been more like their dad. Regina, a 29-year-old female, and I met at my new job 3 years ago. My long-awaited promotion to supervisor at the logistics firm had finally come. The accounting department was Regina's workplace. She was fantastic with the kids. When we began dating, she was instantly beloved by Eric and Lily. Regina was always kind when we had to rearrange our schedules to accommodate the kids because she knew how much they meant to me. I asked Regina to be my girlfriend last Christmas after we had been together for 18 months. When she gave her okay, we immediately set our sights on a September wedding. It appeared like Vanessa was pleased about the engagement. Regina was her dress shopping partner, and the two of them would chat wedding details for hours. It seemed like everything was going swimmingly. Vanessa began seeing a new man, Marcus, 36 years old, around 6 months ago. At first glance, he appeared good enough. He worked well in the construction industry, was childless and divorced. He was well liked by the children, and he occasionally treated us to dinner or ball games. However, Vanessa's conduct started to shift, and I couldn't help but notice she started nagging me about how I should quit being a babysitter and have a family of my own. As she put it, Eric and Lily were becoming too old to rely on their uncle to the extent that they did. The kids still wanted me around and I had never grumbled, so this was weird. Regina was likewise the target of Vanessa's strange remarks. She would express opinions such as Regina was probably ready to have her own babies and wouldn't want to deal with someone else's kids forever. Regina and I had discussed this and she was okay with our arrangement. I informed Vanessa 4 weeks ago. Everything reached a peak. A nearby restaurant was the site of Regina and my engagement celebration. With Vanessa's aid, we were able to invite 40 of our closest friends and family members. Prior to Vanessa getting up to toast, everything was going swimmingly. Vanessa, instead of praising us, began to complain about all the times I had given up for her and her children. She added that, in order to care for them, I had forsaken my college years, my 20s, and any opportunities for other relationships. After that, she uttered something that shivered me to the bone. She couldn't allow me to make another sacrifice. Vanessa told Regina, as she stared directly at her. She argued that Regina should not be married to someone who had too many obligations, and should instead choose someone who could devote their whole attention to her and any children they may have in the future. I would never be able to put Regina first. Vanessa said therefore, she believed we should break up. There was total stillness in the room. Regina bolted from the restaurant, her face turning pale, even though I trailed behind her. She had already gotten into her car. She got in her car and left without speaking to me. Upon my return, inside, I found Vanessa sobbing and explaining that she genuinely wished what was best for everyone. I informed Vanessa that she was wrong to try to ruin our relationship. According to her, her intention was to prevent Regina and myself from committing an error. After that, half of the group departed, and the event was a complete bust. For 3 days, Regina ignored my calls. At the time, she consented to meet with me. She mentioned that she had been considering Vanessa's words after 16 years of putting Vanessa and her children first. Regina wanted to know whether I truly believed I could prioritize our marriage. According to her, she is now unsure if we are mature enough to start a family. I did my best to convince Vanessa that she was mistaken and that I could keep everything in check. Regina, however, stated that she required some solitude to contemplate the matter. She has yet to respond to my inquiry, even though it is now 4 weeks later. At the same time, Vanessa won't stop phoning me to apologize, but she insists on standing by her actions for some time. Now, Eric and Lily have been wondering why Regina stops dropping by. Please tell me what to say. As usual, Vanessa expects me to continue assisting with the children and pretends like nothing has occurred. However, I am currently unable to even look at her. The next step is unclear to me in her. Did Vanessa truly believe she was lending a hand? Does Regina's uncertainty regarding our connection make sense? 1. Foolish toast seems to have been the catalyst for the complete collapse of my entire existence. First update. Many of you wanted an update after I tweeted about how my sister ruined my engagement party. Since then, things have taken a turn for the worse. My time with Regina is up 2 weeks. Subsequent to my initial article, she contacted me to inform me that the wedding could not proceed. According to her, we had never had a serious conversation about our shared priorities before Vanessa's speech. After 16 years of prioritizing Vanessa and her children, Regina was skeptical that I could be the kind of husband to put our marriage first. Urging Regina to think again was my final plea. I corrected Vanessa and let her know that I was prepared to put our future together in the spotlight. The harm had been done, according to Regina. For weeks, she had stewed over the numerous occasions when our plans were abruptly canceled due to Eric's game or Lily's project requirements. She expressed a realization that she would forever be my subordinate in our relationship. Regina returning the ring to me was the most heartbreaking aspect. She told me that her love for me had not faded, but that she could not commit to a partner who was not totally present for her. She remained steadfast in her decision, regardless of our tears. I felt the need to have an honest discussion with Vanessa. Following the official breakup with Regina on 2 separate Saturday mornings when Marcus was absent, I made my way to her residence. Upon my arrival, Vanessa was in the midst of preparing breakfast for Eric and Lily. Our conversation needs to be confidential, I informed Vanessa. I approached her on her back porch and inquired as to the true purpose of her speech at my engagement celebration. For a while, she maintained that she genuinely wanted what was best for everyone. I continued to press down, though I inquired as to whether Vanessa was worried about parting ways with her in-house babysitter and her source of income. At that point, she admitted the truth to me. The news that I was getting married sent Vanessa into a state of fear, she confessed. She expressed her fear of being alone with the children because she had become accustomed to my constant availability to lend a hand. Marcus wasn't prepared to handle the responsibilities of 3 teenagers, according to Vanessa. Even if he was fantastic, Vanessa then made a deeply hurtful statement. Even though she was aware it was self-centered, she insisted she couldn't let go of me just yet because she had relied on me her entire adult life. Things could return to as they were, according to Vanessa, if she could just separate Regina and me. It was unbelievable to me that my sister had ruined our relationship on purpose just to protect her free childcare. I wanted to know if Vanessa ever gave any thought to my desires or what would bring me joy. So I inquired. Her expression of remorse was accompanied by tears. But the worst part is yet to come. I felt I needed some distance from the situation after Vanessa confessed. I informed Vanessa that I needed time to myself before I could be of any use to Eric and Lily. Vanessa went ballistic, concerned that I was abandoning her children. She began yelling at me. She insisted that I couldn't simply vanish from Eric and Lily's lives because they needed me. Vanessa said that by punishing the children for her own shortcomings, I was being selfish. Attempting to reassure them that I was not leaving them, I simply wanted time to think about things. It would go unheard by Vanessa. She insisted that I couldn't abandon the children now because I had promised them 16 years ago. Vanessa told me I was a horrible person at the end of our chat for putting my personal happiness ahead of Eric and Lily. She warned that if I left the kids now, they would never forgive me. I haven't had any communication with Vanessa since that happened 2 months ago. However, Eric has been messaging me inquiring as to why I no longer visit. Apparently, Vanessa informed him that I was too preoccupied with my own issues to give them any priority. Last week, Lily asked me whether I was angry with her by calling me and crying without bringing disgrace upon Vanessa. I am unsure of how to inform the children. about the situation. Their mother used her influence over me to bring them into this situation, and they have no right to suffer because of it. However, I also cannot return to the previous arrangement in which Vanessa could rely on me for any of her requirements. She had already shown that she was prepared to ruin my joy in order to maintain her cozy life. Vanessa, meanwhile, has been spreading the word around relatives that I left the kids and her after all these years of being there for them. Last week, my cousin gave me a call and accused me of lacking empathy. He added that the children were always requesting that I come help Vanessa, and that she was having a hard time doing things on her own. It seems like Marcus was willing to pitch up more, but Vanessa claimed that his offer wasn't as helpful as my presence. She complimented my understanding of the kids and my ability to manage them to Marcus. Vanessa essentially said that she would rather have me on her side than form a genuine partnership with him. Their connection is now being questioned by Marcus as well. He confessed to Vanessa that he felt little in comparison to her reliance on me 3 weeks ago. Vanessa begged me to speak with Marcus and clarify that her intention was different. I informed Vanessa that I would no longer be able to resolve her relationship issues. The fact that she ruined my work is what started this whole situation. The repercussions are now hers to bear. I guess Vanessa could end up losing Marcus and me. Altogether, the children are distressed and bewildered, and I sit here questioning whether I am being self-centered by withdrawing, or if I am making the correct choice. Second, update: things with my sister have taken a surprising turn, so I feel compelled to give you all another update. I must first mention the events between Eric and Lily. Several individuals informed me after my previous update that I should be forthright with the kids about the reasons behind my absence. It was my decision that they should be informed of some of the truth at a park close to Eric and Lily's school. One afternoon I met them. I needed some space to sort out some adult issues with Vanessa. I said we had a fight about that. I reassured them it was unrelated to them and reiterated my love for them both. Directly, Lily wanted to know if I was leaving. Eric was curious as to whether this was due to his growing independence. As he grew older, observing their bewilderment was heartbreaking. I assured them that no matter what, I would never stop caring about them and that I would always be their uncle. However, I did make it clear that I was unable to continue our previous arrangement in which I was responsible for the most of their daily care. I told them they were mature enough to know that grown-ups have to make adjustments every once in a while. Compared to Lily, Eric seems to have a greater grasp. Since Marcus left, he has been observing Vanessa's struggles more closely. He is now 15 years old. About 7 weeks following my last report, Marcus did in fact end his relationship with Vanessa, even if her brother was extremely reliant on another man. He informed Vanessa he couldn't be with someone like that, but Marcus broke things off. Vanessa was crushed. She begged me to help her get him over the phone, sobbing as she did so. I advised Vanessa to work on her relationships on her own. What Vanessa did next, though, was completely unacceptable. She began to influence Eric and Lily into my return by involving them for issues that she could have handled herself. She would have them contact me if Vanessa had offered to help with Lily's homework. Lily would call in a panic once Eric contacted Vanessa to request that she not drive him to baseball practice because she was too anxious. Instead of resolving conflicts as a family, I saw that Vanessa was training the kids to come to me first. No one's health was served by this. Consequently, Vanessa and I had another discussion. I warned her that the children were being entangled in our adult issues and she needed to stop. Vanessa insisted she was acting appropriately and that the children always came to me for assistance. I brought up the fact that Vanessa had spent a considerable amount of time relying on me to resolve family problems, rather than taking initiative herself. I argued that teaching Eric and Lily they couldn't depend on their mom wasn't fair. After being accused of being a bad mother, Vanessa became combative and claimed she simply needed help. She pointed out lots of families help each other and I was being ridiculous by cutting them off. What truly astonished me, though, was this Mrs. Alvarez, who lives next door to Vanessa, stopped by my apartment last month to have a chat. She informed me that she had been keeping an eye on our family for a long time and wanted to tell me something. Vanessa frequently griped about being the parent to her own children. According to Mrs. Alvarez, based on what she heard, Vanessa would complain about Eric and Lily being a burden and express a desire to return to her carefree youth. According to Mrs. Alvarez, Vanessa frequently talked about how lucky she was to have me to handle the hard parts of parenting. Vanessa, according to Mrs. Alvarez, had been proclaiming to neighbors that she was essentially a single mom who relied on her brother. Since the children's fathers weren't involved, what Mrs. Alvarez didn't disclose was that Vanessa never brought up the fact that I had been financially supporting them for more than 10 years. As we spoke, it hit me. Vanessa had been playing the victim card. While she claimed credit for the children's upbringing, even though I had done most of the work, I did most of the labor, and she was the one receiving pity for being a single mother, going through tough times. Some clear limits needed to be established, I thought. I conveyed to Vanessa in a letter my intention to keep in touch with Eric and Lily, but only under my own conditions once a month. I would take them out and be ready for real situations like I indicated before. However, I had had enough of being both their main caregiver and Vanessa's fall guy. I also made it clear to Vanessa that she must begin to shoulder the entire burden of caring for her children's basic necessities. She should seek out professional assistance or family services. I advised her if she felt she couldn't manage raising 2 teenagers alone. In response, Vanessa, along by Eric and Lily, showed up at my flat. She informed me that the kids longed to be with me and missed my company. However, it was clear that she was trying to manipulate me by bringing up these issues. I had a pleasant afternoon with Eric and Lily, but I told Vanessa she couldn't just show up without a warning. I politely requested that she call ahead and respect my personal space. When I treated Vanessa like a stranger rather than a family member, Vanessa began to scream and accuse me of it. Following her apology for the engagement party, she claimed she failed to comprehend my icy demeanor. After Vanessa has shown her willingness to ruin my relationships in order to make me available for her convenience, I told her that apologizing wasn't going to cut it. Rebuilding trust requires deeds, not words, as I mentioned before. Ever since then, Vanessa has been spreading the word that I neglected my family duties in favor of my own egotism rather than helping out her children. She has been portraying herself as a helpless victim who tragically lost her network of loved ones at a critical juncture. But to be honest, it no longer matters to me what version of events Vanessa tells. I'm sick of blaming other people for my own troubles and seeing my own life fall apart. Third, upgrade. Since I believe this phase of my life is coming to a close, this will be my last update these days. Vanessa and I hardly speak to one another at all. She tried one last time to get me returned to our previous arrangement. After my last update, she made a big deal out of her appearance at my workplace. One day, embarrassing my supervisor and colleagues in her anguished words, Vanessa claimed that I had left her children when they needed me most. They missed me so badly. She added that Eric was failing 3 classes and Lily was behaving up at school. Vanessa pleaded with me to return so that I might ease their suffering. In the aftermath, my supervisor took me aside to check in on how things were going at home because Vanessa's tantrum was so annoying. I had to fill him in on everything. Thanks be to God. My boss was sympathetic, although he did warn me not to let my private issues interfere with my job responsibilities in the future. Vanessa, bringing her drama to my workplace was something I was really embarrassed about. I informed her over the phone that she would no longer be welcome at my workplace that night. I threatened to report her to the authorities as a harasser if she pulled another prank like that. Vanessa claimed to be in a state of extreme desperation with no idea of how to proceed. Even though she knew Eric was having trouble in class, she was at a loss as to how to assist him with his hard math assignments. She described feeling helpless in the face of Lily's repeated infractions for speaking up against her professors. I reassured Vanessa that these were just typical difficulties that parents face and that millions of individuals don't have brothers to help them out. Regarding Lily's behavioral problems, I advised that she consult the school counselor and consider tutoring programs for Eric. Vanessa claimed she was unable to continue attending school sessions due to a lack of time and money for tutoring. When I was able to take care of these things, she remarked everything was a lot easier. It dawned on me then that Vanessa had never mastered the art of full-time parenting since I had been taking care of her every need. But Vanessa was the recipient of my last offer. I promised to take Eric and Lily on a weekend getaway over summer break and keep seeing them twice a month. However, all other matters were to be handled by Vanessa alone, without my intervention. I threatened to end all communication if she didn't respect this final barrier I set. My offer wasn't sufficient. According to Vanessa, the children, she claimed, required more regularity and security than what was offered by casual visits. If Vanessa were to pass away, what would become of Eric and Lily? This was Vanessa's question. The only family they had, she added, was me. That was the precise issue. I informed Vanessa my role in her children's life had been so ingrained that they were unable to carry on without me. It was unhealthy for both of us. I argued, and something had to change as a result of her own mistakes. Vanessa said that I was punishing innocent children. Eric and Lily didn't ask to be born, she remarked, adding that I shouldn't let them suffer since I was angry with her. Regardless of his own feelings, a true guy, according to Vanessa, would prioritize the needs of the children. Our previous chat ended there. Vanessa went too far when she tried to implicate me and the children's well-being and cast doubt on my character. She would constantly attempt to re-roll me and would never accept limits. I learned I last had any communication with Vanessa 3 months ago. Occasionally, Eric texts me and I reply, but we don't get too deep into serious topics. I started letting Lily's calls go to voicemail after she tried contacting me multiple times, and Vanessa was obviously giving her advice on what to say. Mrs. Alvarez informed me that Vanessa has been going through a tough time. Evidently, Eric's performance at school declined, and he left the baseball team as a result of her bad attitude. Lily has been in more difficulty than usual at school due to a plethora of school-related matters and meetings. Vanessa was forced to take time off from her job. Alvarez pointed out, Vanessa keeps talking about how unfair it is that I abandoned them right when they needed me most. Some people have heard Vanessa say that I'm selfish because I prioritize my comfort before aiding my family. To be fair, Mrs. Alvarez did tell me something intriguing as well. Her sources indicated that Eric had explained to his friends why I had stepped back and that his mother should get a life of her own compared to his mother. Eric seems to be more level-headed about this whole mess. Personally, I'm feeling much better, along with completing some online classes to hone my abilities. I received a minor promotion at work. My social life has been more active recently, and I've even gone on a few dates. Nothing serious just yet. At times, I question whether I was wise to withdraw so far, even though they had nothing to do with causing this disaster. Eric and Lily are bearing the brunt of its effects. Still, I'm well aware that I can't continue to put up with Vanessa's dependence without eventually letting it ruin my life. It was easier for her to let me handle everything, so Vanessa chose not to learn how to be an independent parent, even though she had 16 years to do so. The arrangement that allowed her to enjoy the assistance without shouldering the burden of providing for her family's needs was one with which she was content. Vanessa, instead of taking charge of her life, sabotaged my happiness. The moment I attempted to alter our dynamic, that made it crystal clear that she prioritized my safety above her own convenience. When Vanessa was young and overwhelmed, I helped her out, and I don't regret it. However, I wish I had set limits when the kids were younger. My failure to encourage Vanessa to cultivate her independent parenting abilities led to her becoming overly reliant on me. The decision has implications, and Vanessa and I will both have to deal with them without a safety net. She must figure out how to take care of her family's needs. Even though I'm trying to put my life back together, I can't escape the reality that my niece and nephew are going through tough times. It's hardly a fairy tale ending, but it's the only one that lets me move on from fixing Vanessa's messes and have a future of my own.